Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, President Rodrigo Duterte gives the go signal to investigate the Philippine Ambassador in Brazil for maltreating her Filipina staff. And as senators set to deliberate the 2021 national budget, a lawmaker says it's time to slash the budget of agencies involved in corruption. And from pastillas scheme to Chinese retirees and workers, is there an ongoing soft invasion by China in the country? Senate Majority Leader Migz Zubiri joins us live. President Rodrigo Duterte gives the go signal to investigate Philippine Ambassador to Brazil, Marichu Mauro, for allegedly maltreating her house help. Senator Bongo says the president's order is in line with the recommendation of the Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin Jr. Malacanang confirms the recall of Mauro, saying both administrative and criminal charges may be filed against her. Earlier this week, senators call for a thorough investigation on the reported maltreatment of Mauro's Filipina house help. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senate Majority Leader Migz Zubiri. Senator Zubiri, it's good to have you again. Welcome to the source.
Thank you very much, Pinky. It's good to have myself back in your show. It's good to see you again, and good morning to everyone.
You were horrified. You said you were horrified upon seeing that video of Philippine Ambassador to Brazil, Marichu Mauro, maltreating her staff. The DFA already said that they will conduct a thorough investigation on the matter. What should be done, and how soon are you expecting a resolution on this case?
Well, you're absolutely correct. When I saw the video, the CCTV footage, I was absolutely horrified that somebody of that position, which is supposed to protect the Filipinos overseas from maltreatment, is herself maltreating and abusing her own personnel. It was just horrifying to see. And it sent shockwaves not only in the Philippines, but all over the international community. I think there's now backlash with the OFWs on the treatment that was given to this OFW. She's considered an OFW, the kasambahay of Ambassador Mauro. And I'm so thankful that the DFA acted quickly, recalled the ambassador, is going through right now with a thorough investigation. And I thank the president also for allowing the investigation to take place. We are in the midst of the budget season, Pinky. So definitely when the budget of the Department of Foreign Affairs will come up, of course, we will thank Secretary Locsin for his swift action. But we would like to ask also the department what had been done, what will be done on in the case of Ambassador Mauro in terms of penalties and anong parusa ibibigay po nila sa kanya. Because as far as I'm concerned, Pinky, she violated several laws of the country. First of all, Republic Act 6713, which is the Code of Conduct for Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. It says there, public officials and employees should perform and discharge their duties with the highest degree of excellence, professionalism, intelligence, and skill, and should never discriminate against anyone, especially the poor and underprivileged. And at all times respect the rights of others. So, labag na yan under Section 11. No, there's penalties there, both criminal and of course, administrative. And then you have Article 266 of the Penal Code, the revised Penal Code, which is slight physical injuries and maltreatment, also has corresponding penalties and administrative sanctions. And then you have the most recent law, and I think this is the most important law, which is the Kasambahay Act, which is Republic Act 10361, the Domestic Workers Act. Under its provision, Section 5 to 10, standard treatment, no? The employer shall not subject the domestic worker or kasambahay to any kind of abuse or inflict any form of physical violence or mental violence, harassment, tending to degrade the dignity of a domestic worker. And under Section 11, there are standards of treatment, how a employer should treat their employees with respect, no? Nagkasambahay with respect. May penalties din po yan,
Mm-mm.
Pinky, no? So, as far as I'm concerned, there are 3 laws that she violated, aside from the administrative sanctions that will be given to her. I doubt it very much, to be very honest, that she can seek another posting with what had happened. Being a member of the Commission on Appointments will see to it that this will not go unpunished.
There is supposed to be, isn't there, Senator Migz, a grievance committee that is put in place for a situation like this? I say that because when we look at what happened, it was a local station in Brazil that aired this CCTV footage. Nauna pa po sila kaysa sa atin. And what is it? And who is involved? It's a Philippine ambassador and a Filipina staff. And then you're right in saying that dapat nga tayo pa ang nag-aalaga sa ating mga staff at mga kasambahay, and yet you have an ambassador, as seen on the CCTV, maltreating her staff. Paano ho kaya maayos yung ganitong situation in the future, in the event that something like this happens?
Well, Pinky, parang naawa sa kanya yung mga empleyado ng embahada eh. Because that video was leaked. That means, she was caught red-handed doing all these violations of law that I just
Mm-mm.
mentioned. And I think it was well-meaning individuals of the embassy that actually leaked the video. The sad part about it is it was leaked pa to the local media. So it's now a big issue in Brazil. Globo News, which is a
Mm-mm.
big news agency, has taken this as one of their advocacies. And they've even, I was looking at the websites yesterday, they're even asking for other employees of the embassy to come forward and file cases because the Brazilian
I
government is
see.
willing to support them and to protect them. So yes, it's a bit of an international incident on our against us, no, against the Filipinos, the black eye to the Foreign Affairs Department, and that's why the quick action of the Department of Foreign Affairs is very welcome. And it also sends a bad
Mm-mm.
signal to countries where they abuse our compatriots, kung saan inaabuso yung ating mga kasambahay, kung saan inaabuso yung ating mga workers. I mean, a lot of
Mm-mm.
Arab countries, Middle Eastern countries, we've had cases wherein our kasambahays are constantly abused. So with a video coming out like this, with an incident that coming out like this, no, where a person of authority who's supposed to protect the Filipinos is actually the one maltreating Filipinos, baka gamitin pa nila yan at sabihin, oh, mga abusador din yung mga sakop ninyo, yung mga tao ninyo, persons of authorities, ambassadors.
Mm-mm.
So maybe you should uh, uh, look inwards or clean up house, clean up shop first before accusing us of abusing OFW. So yes, it's a big stink on our part, on the part of the Foreign Affairs Department, which I'm glad that they have taken action of. There are a lot of great ambassadors, and there are a lot of great individuals in the Foreign Affairs Department. So I hope that this one incident will not permanently damage the image of the department
Mm-mm.
abroad. So what is important here, Pinky, is the action that will be taken after. And that has to be a harsh, I have to say, harsh penalty that should be given. Definitely, she's already been recalled. To be posted into another embassy abroad will need the Commission on Appointments approval and appointment. Definitely, we will do our part. Senator Villanueva has already spoken out. He's the chairman of the Committee on
Mm-mm.
Labor. Myself as well, and
Labor.
several other
Mm-mm.
of my colleagues have already said that if she goes through the commission on
Yeah.
appointments once again, we will stop the appointment, of course, due to these reasons. And we're happy that the
Mm-mm.
kasambahay is now back home. She's from Cotabato. She's now back home with her family. And we're asking also
Mm.
the DOLE. Lahat ng kasambahay, lahat ng mga OFWs under the auspices of the DOLE, the Department of Labor and Employment, sana bigyan din po siya ng tulong at assistance. Meron po yan for maltreated workers. Meron po silang pondo na magagamit at maibibigay po sa kanilang pamilya. So I hope that comes to them the soonest possible time.
Sabi po nila, Senator Migz, there are some labor groups. Kasi when this video is shown, napakadali po talagang i-judge, no? Na inabuso po yung empleyado. Kaya ang tanong po ng iba, bakit pa kailangan ng investigasyon? Kitang-kita na sa CCTV kung anong ginawa.
Well, Pinky, kailangan din may due process. It's like, for example, if there's a criminal in the street and you know he's a criminal and you just apprehend him without due process in terms of having the proper warrants of arrest,
Yeah.
then of course the case could be dismissed by court. So I'm sure that the Department of Foreign Affairs wants to make this a closed, a shut case, really airtight case, no? So they just want to go
Okay.
through the process. But you're absolutely correct.
Is
She was caught red-handed. Nakikita niyo sa video, binubugbog, minamaltrato, not only the physical abuse but the mental abuse. Nakikita niyo po, parang lumuluhod na lang po siya, umiiyak sa
umaatras na
isang
siya eh.
tabi.
Opo.
It's horrible. It is horrible. No Filipino
Yeah.
should go through this maltreatment. No Filipino. And I'm actually proposing during the
Senator,
budget deliberations, and I will request Senator Sonny Angara, the chairperson of the Committee on Finance, to appropriate a fund, an additional fund to the Department of Foreign Affairs para sa kanilang CCTV program. Sa tingin ko, lagyan ng CCTV, lahat ng tahanan, of course, except the bathrooms and the bedrooms, no? Pero lahat ng, I'd say, common areas of the embassy as well as the work
residences.
areas and even the residences, para sa ganun ay makita po natin itong pangyayari. At alam mo, online naman yung mga
Okay.
CCTV na yun. So it's all in the cloud. If they make a mistake, they can no longer erase it. I think that's a good suggestion because a lot of OFWs also are complaining of maltreatment in other embassies in the Middle East. Remember those stories about a year or 2 years ago where there were abuse being done for special favors? I think this will end if we have CCTV coverage in most of our embassies all over the world.
Another question on this, Senator Migz. Is a Senate probe necessary?
Hindi na po siguro kailangan. I spoke to Senator Joel about that. He's going to weigh the situation. It might not be necessary if the action is swift on the part of the Department of Foreign Affairs. Usually, nagkakaroon po kami ng probe sa Senado pag hindi po gumagalaw yung ahensya ng gobyerno and it needs some reminding to act on these particular issues. So in this case, again, saludo po ako kay Secretary Locsin. They acted right away, but it's the logical conclusion that we have to await this next few days, next few weeks.
Just a quick update. Were you able to speak to the kasambahay, Senator? Because you said that you confirmed nga na nakauwi na siya at sabi niyo po nasa Cotabato.
They reached out to our office a couple of days ago, and we're actually reaching out to them also. We're going to try to give them a bit of help on our side. Being from Mindanao, a fellow Mindanaoan, my heart goes towards them and to them, and we are going to be sending some help to the family as well. So our staff has spoken to them, but my plan is to send some help over there, and when my staff reaches their home, that I'll talk to them personally over the phone. But yes, we're reaching out to them now
initially,
to help. Being a fellow Mindanao, that's the least I can do.
Initially, what did the family tell your staff? So we have a little bit more information.
The daughter had spoken to us. She has the kasambahay has one child, and the daughter spoke to us, and she told us that the mom is in better spirits now. She's a bit more. She's happy that she's home. She's happy that she's home safe and sound, and she's very willing to give a statement to the Department of Foreign Affairs and an affidavit to itemize and put on record all the abuses that was being done to her by Ambassador Mauro.
All right. No Senate probe necessary according to Senator Migz Zubiri on this, but Senator Ping Lacson is looking at a probe on this red tagging. We'll be talking about that after the break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our guest today, Senate Majority Leader Migz Zubiri. Senator Ping Lacson wants a probe into this red tagging activities of military officials, and this is set next week, Senator Migz, on November 3. Is this something that you support?
Well, he has all the right to have the hearing. He's the chairman of the committee on public order and security. So he and also he being the author of the anti-terrorism law, he would know best on how to interpret, no, or yes, interpret basically the law that he authored in the Senate. So um, it would also be a good venue. It would be a good venue for both sides to air their side, both from the military under, of course, General Parlade's statements, and the those who are being tagged by the general, by the controversial general. No, um, I hope though that everything will be all well and good on November 3, because I think there's a huge typhoon coming on November 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, it's all
yeah.
well within his rights as chairman of the Committee on Public Order and Security to have that hearing. And again, it's probably going to be a good venue for them to air their side, both sides.
Do you think that that Facebook post, which I'm certain you read, sir, of General Parlade on Liza Soberano, he's saying, of course, that he was just defending Liza and that he was just warning Liza, and then lumabas na po yung pangalan ni Angel Locsin, Ella, her sister, and Catriona Gray. Do you think that that statement actually helped the signed anti-terror law, because there are 37 petitions right now before the Supreme Court questioning and looking into possible abuses and even red tagging of certain individuals and groups. Nakatulong ho ba ito para sa anti-terror law, o mas nagdagdag po ng takot sa publiko?
Well, sa tingin ko, no, it was katulad ng binanggit mo, nagdagdag confusion. It added confusion to the anti-terror law. It, of course, it's also adds to the witch hunt scare, no, that they're saying. Full disclosure, I'm a big fan of all three ladies. Pinky, I'm a big fan of Liza, of Catriona, and of
An
Angel.
angel.
First of all, Angel Locsin is our ambassador in the Red Cross. She's one of our Red Cross ambassadors. She has such a kind and warm heart. She is such a philanthropist. Yung pera na kita niya sa pelikula or sa television shows, ginagamit niya sa pagbibigay ng tulong sa ating mga kababayan. Catriona Gray has represented us in the international scene very, very well. And of course, Liza Soberano is a sweetheart. She's a great actress and a lot of followers. It's unnecessary, if you ask me. It's unnecessary,
Okay.
Pinky. These getting these celebrities in the limelight for their advocacies. Um, that's why the military has to be very, very careful on how they conceptualize or point out these particular issues. Particularly, they might be accused of red tagging into what is happening now, or unnecessarily tagging individuals. So they have to be very, very careful, and of course, they have to be basing it on evidence. So these three very, very influential, very, very sikat, no, kilalang mga celebrities, hindi lamang po dito, kundi sa international scene, also have to have their day in court, and they also have to have the respect that government gives every one of its citizens. So I think it's unnecessary media attention, and let's concentrate on the enemies of the state, and let's concentrate on capturing them, on winning the hearts and minds of our people. I think that's the most important thing at this point in time,
Yeah.
Pinky.
Yeah. Yung pong sinabi kasi ni Congressman Lagman, I was able to interview Congressman Lagman yesterday, I believe, and he said that because of this issue, this could serve as Exhibit A before the Supreme Court to issue a temporary restraining order on the implementation of the anti-terror law. Kumbaga, sinasabi niya, ito na, Exhibit A na to. dapat tingnan na to ng Korte Suprema at dapat mag-TRO na.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, Piggy, so I don't want to dwell in the legal realm of the issue on the anti-terrorism law. So I leave it to our legal luminaries to do so. Mine is a bit, uh, mine is to be more prudent, I think, on accusations made by both sides. Of course, the military will say there are bases to there are bases to do what they're doing. But what is important is the hard facts, the hard evidence. If they're going to case a particular group, make sure that they have enough evidence before they actually say that these people are enemies of the state. Because yes, it can actually do
All right.
damage to the case pending the cases, several cases pending in the Supreme Court against the anti-terror law. So we just have to be more prudent, more careful, especially with their statements, because we live in a democracy. We believe in freedom of speech, freedom of the media to be able to air news items and reports. So yeah, whatever controversial statement that comes out from people of authority, talagang atakihin yan eh. Talagang puputok yan. Not only
Okay.
on the media but also social media. So I guess my advice to them is to be more prudent on issues like this.
There's also the issue on illegal Chinese workers in the country. Senator Migz Zubiri wants to file a bill regarding limiting the involvement of foreign contractors here in the country on infrastructure projects. We're going to talk about that right after the break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. Senator Migz, we have a few minutes left, but this is very important because you want to file a bill that would actually limit the involvement of foreign contractors here in the country. From what I read, sir, ang sabi niyo po, because of there is a Republic Act that needs to be amended, but I can't go to that anymore dahil wala na oras. Sabi niyo po kasi pati mga kanal, pati mga roads, pati mga water systems ay pwedeng foreign contractors ang gumawa nito?
Actually, Ma'am Pinky, it's because there was a Supreme Court ruling recently, on the
Right.
contractors law that was passed many, many years ago, wherein there are no specific provisions disallowing or preventing foreign contractors for coming in the country and participating in almost all our government contracts. Hindi naman tama yun, Pinky. Sa aking pananaw, itong mga government contracts na ito, pera ng taong bayan yan. That's taxpayers' money. If you're a private corporation, you want to hire a foreign contractor, that's fine by me. But if
Go
you
ahead.
are if it's government funds for large and small items for example, in the budget of the Department of Public Works and Management, iwan na natin sa Pilipino yan. Because that's supposed to be exactly what it is. It's supposed to prime the economy with infrastructure projects, large and small, whether they're big ticket items or canals, roads, farm to market roads, flood control projects, or even bridges, classroom buildings in the barangays. Kung papasukan pa ng, let's say, Chinese workers yan or Indian workers, kawawa naman ang ating mga kababayan dito sa iba't ibang barangay ng ating bansa na kung saan let's leave it to the locals. No, I support completely local participation, buy local, support local. That's always been my advocacy, being pro-Filipino in terms of the development programs in our country. So yes, I'm going to file a bill, Pinky, and this is going to define the contractors law, put an additional amendment to the contractors law, which basically, we're not banning foreign contractors from coming in, but let us limit the amount of workers that they're going to hire, and let us also limit the amount that they can participate in. For example, if it is a bridge, like these large bridges that will connect Cebu, Bohol, Negros, and Iloilo, that's the Visayas Bridge Program. Definitely the best bridge makers are the Koreans, even mainland China. They've connected Hong Kong and Macau in this long bridge of programs that they have, long projects that they have there. So we can tap them to get their technology, to get their equipment, the needed equipment to do so. But let's hire at least 80%, no? 70 to 80% Filipino workers. That's the catch there, no? we may do so. And we're also putting up a cap of about 2 billion and above they can apply. But for smaller projects, Pinky, yung mga classroom buildings, yung paggagawa ng daycare
Atin na lang
center,
yun, sir.
health center, kung
Opo.
papasukan pa nila yan, kawawa naman ang ating mga kababayan. Di wala na pong
Yeah.
wala na pong ma-hire
Okay.
na local dito sa mga bilyong-bilyong pisong
Okay.
government projects na ipinamimigay po sa buong bansa from Apari to Tawi-Tawi.
Right.
Kawawa po yung ating mga kababayan
So,
yan.
Senator, when you do file this bill, please let's talk about it again, because this is very, very important because of the seemingly influx of Chinese workers here in the country. But we've run out of time. Senate Majority Leader Migz Zubiri, sir, take care of yourself, and maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Maraming salamat, Pinky. Thank you po.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.